This week's species is the most popular fish inshore of the state of Florida. Its yellow mouth and spots is what makes it easily recognized. I like them because they take soft plastics, top waters, and are certainly kids' favorite. Tonight, we're talking sea trout here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
We are back on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, ready to give you what you've been waiting for all week, your weekend fishing escape. We're talking about the very popular inshore species today, trout, but I know some of our captains have other tricks up their sleeves too. What do you think, Rick?
Absolutely,
They always do.
You know, trout, I love the trout because of...
too.
When I think about taking kids fishing, you catch jacks, trout, ladyfish. It's action-packed. They come up, do a lot of shaking on the water. I love them. That's one of the reasons.
It's not just kids that love them. We love them too.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, today, Rick, we have special guests over at the CCA Workbench filling in for Dave while he's catching marlin, and that is professional angler Sarah Amelia and your very own Captain Ridge Murphy.
How about that?
Good to have some new young blood on the show, guys. Excited to have you.
Absolutely. Good to
Hi,
be
we're
back.
excited to be back.
All right.
Awesome. Well, Rick, I'm sure you're feeling outnumbered, and I'm feeling out-Murphy'd. So let's start this trout fest off quickly with your Star Tron Central West captain, Jeffrey Page. What's the action looking like over there, Page?
It's looking good, and just real quick, I know Rick will agree with me. I want to give a big shout-out to the guys over at Boaters Exchange in Rockledge. We had a great weekend over there with Rick and Jimmy Ross and myself. And it was just a good time for all, and I like that place over there.
All right, well, let's get started, Bub.
All right, you know what? It's good to be part of the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and it's good to be leading off tonight because, you know, I'm just a trout fisherman from Sarasota, Florida, and so far this year, Rick, it's been really good speckled trout fishing in our region. Gotten good reports of big speckled trout to the north part of the region, around Tarpon Key in the Fort DeSoto area, as well as off of Joe's Island and Rattlesnake Key, as well as Emerson Point on the east side of South Tampa Bay. Sarasota Bay, there's been a lot of fish on both sides of the Long Bar, as well as the deeper grass flats off Whale Key and down south in Lemon Bay on the west side of the Intercoastal. There's been some really nice speckled trout around the Spoil Islands and Oyster Bars. Going a little further south, all the outer bars and islands off Turtle Bay, Bull Bay, and the flats off Mondongo Island, producing some really nice trout. Some of the ways that we catch them over here, it's hard to beat either a live pilchard or a shrimp under a popping cork. And for artificials, topwater plugs like the Chrome Zara Spook or Super Spook Jr. or the Rapala Skitter Walk in the Bone Chartreuse pattern or Pearl White. Some of the soft plastics that we use are the Saltwater Assassin Salty Snack or the 4-inch Sea Shad in the Golden Brim pattern or the White Pearl Ghost on a 1/4 ounce jig head. Look for these patterns to work just as long as the tide, the water temperatures get up into the 80s, and then the fish are going to start staying out in a little bit of deeper water. Right now, tide gets up high, maybe that second half of the incoming, fish are going to be tight to the mangroves, around the oyster bars, around the bushes, and you can find them, the big trout mixed in with the black and silver mullet. You can throw your plugs or your soft plastics in the depressions or tight to the bars. I've got a nice photo tonight of your friend and mine, Billy the Kid Ahlstrom, with a nice trout he got waiting in Palmasola Bay.
All right, what else you got for us inshore, Page?
Snook fishing remains strong with not only lots of fish moving into the passes, but the nighttime snook fishing is really getting good, Rick, around all the intercoastal waterway bridges and residential dock lights from Venice, south of Lemon Bay, as well as Venice Jetty, north to the Nokomis Bridge area, an area that they call Snook Alley. The mad snooker, Dave Ferrell, has been catching fish up to 40 inches, been using live silver mullet, live pinfish, and live ladyfish when he can get them. To the north, all around the Spoil Islands and mangrove shorelines, live pilchards from the halfway up the high tide to an hour of the outgoing Palmasola, Terracea, and the shoreline's just outside of Rattlesnake Key. If you like throwing artificials, it's hard to beat the Saltwater Assassin Green Moon or Violet Moon 4-inch sea shad on a 1/4-ounce silver jig head. Live pilchers, like I said, work real well. I've got a snook photo tonight of TJ and Haley, boyfriend and girlfriend, with a good one they got at nighttime snooking with the mad snooker, Dave Ferrell.
All right, tell me about the offshore fish, bub.
Offshore, the permit is main strong with lots of permits throughout the entire region. South and north, the Key Rick has been getting the crabs. Down south, guys are selling them down there in Charlotte Harbor, but if you can't sell them, you can dip them on the outgoing tide of the pass. And then what you want to find is the fish laid up on top of the wrecks and reefs in that 7 to 11 mile range. Get anchored up current of your structure and either free line crab or put one out with a split shot. I've got a nice permit photo tonight of Captain Kevin Wessel with a big permit he got off of Sarasota. And last species, kingfish. Kingfish remains strong. I know it's the end of April, but it's like it's the end of March. The kingfish are up and down the shoreline. You're going to find them out there in that same, anywhere from a mile to 7 miles offshore, holding over hard bottom, covered up with lots of thread fins. Got a king photo tonight of a guy from Wicked Tuna, Gordy, with his first kingfish he caught with Captain Brian Marcy of Breakwater Charters.
Thanks for starting us off there, Captain Page. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck hot spots from the Central West region inshore. Speckled trout, a decent bite on the high tide around the Spoil Islands on the west side of Lemon Bay, and then offshore, lots of permit holding on the wrecks and artificial reefs in the 7 to 11 mile range off of Anna Maria, Brie.
All right, Rick, next up is Captain Jim Ross in the Bell's Central East region, who's also got the trout on lockdown. So Jim, let's hear it.
Yeah, we do, Brie. You know, our anglers around here love catching speckled trout just like everybody does across the state. We like doing it with our topwater plugs. You know, the skitter walks thrown out there first thing in the morning, last thing in the afternoon seem to work really well. The rest of the day, we pretty much throw those Assassin soft plastic sea shads. And you can find them in all 3 lagoons right now. The Indian River and the Mosquito have been better than the Banana, though, recently. So if you're out there, look for those schools of mullet. That's where you're going to find the trout. They're going to hang around those pods. They're looking for food, and that's the type of food they want. You can also throw live finger mullet around those mangrove shorelines, docks, oyster bars, especially up in the New Smyrna area and Edgewater area. They're getting some really big trout up there. Some of those fish are 5 and 6 pounds. The sandy potholes as you come farther south in the Mosquito Lagoon are also holding good numbers of trout. The Indian River, Banana River don't have a lot of grass in them right now, so you want to concentrate on drop-offs and depressions and docks. That seems to be where those fish are holding. And then when you get down towards Palm Bay and Sebastian, you can look at the creek mouths. The water flowing out from this last rain event that we just had has got some of those fish stacked up in those creek mouths, and most of those fish are running from about 1 to 4 pounds. Now, Salty Dog Outfitters sent me a trout photo. A gentleman named Blake here that we've got a picture of. That is a pretty good-sized trout, but surprisingly, that is about an average fish running up in the Edgewater, New Smyrna area backwaters right now. So don't be surprised. There's some good ones out there. Oof. The other species that we have are bluefish, and we've had a lot of west wind the last couple of days, and it's kind of messing the bite up just a little bit, but the bluefish bite has still been pretty strong if you find some fairly clean water right around the rips and current changes at the inlets, especially Ponce and Sebastian. There seems to be a lot of bluefish right now, but you know what? You can also find them inside the lagoon. You want to look for gulls in there, and they'll be feeding over the deeper flats and the edges of the ICW channel, and you can find those bluefish feeding on schools of glass minnows. Now, if you guys are casting out in the inlets or out in the surf, the fish out there are like a really fast-moving lure. So a 1/4-ounce crocodile, the silver crocodile spoon, seems to work really well. And, of course, you know, it's hard to beat a Rapala X-Rap lip diving plug. We throw the size 10 and size 8 in the lagoons, and then the size 10 or the size 12 at the inlets. And like the trout, you know, our average bluefish is running about 1 to 4 pounds inside. But if you're up in the Ponce area, you still have a shot at some of those giant fish that we had moved through here over the last couple of weeks. And some of those fish are running 10 to 15 pounds. So don't be surprised if you get a hold of them. Now, one of the anglers that I talked to recently was out on the outside, and he was doing pretty good outside of Ponds Inlet. And we also have another picture here that was sent in from Salty Dog Outfitters of some of the other species that you can catch while you're chasing those bluefish. And, of course, those redfish are almost always prevalent out there at the Ponds Inlet Jetty. So make sure you guys and gals get out there and chase them. Now, Rick, swinging offshore, our cobia are still in the northern part of the region. Guys are still getting them on stingrays. There's still a few manta rays running around. So you can find those fish in the northern region, north of the Port Canaveral area. So from about the Falls Cape north, that's where those fish seem to be holding right now. Most of the fish have been in the 60 to 120-foot depths, although with this west wind, I think everything's going to switch offshore a little farther, and you're probably going to start looking in that 70 or 80-foot out to about 150-foot depth. Tip a jig with some squid, and you should be able to get those cobia to strike. And then our last species is dolphin. And the dolphin bite is getting better by the day, and the guys and gals that are getting out there are looking for temperature breaks. That seems to be the key right now. Not necessarily color changes, or that would be what we would look for earlier in the year. But right now, it seems like the temperature breaks seem to be the thing that they're holding on. So out of Sebastian, you're looking at 60 to 180 foot of water. Out of Canaveral, you can start right about 90 to 100 and then run out to about 250 foot. And then out of the Ponds Inlet area, you're starting at about 120 and going out to about 400 feet. Now, skirted ballyhoo and naked mullet or naked flying fish are really good baits to pull. The average dolphin's a little small still, 5 to 10 pounds, but we've got that big push of fish that's going to be coming up from the south, and the fish that are coming from the east side of the Gulf Stream that are going to be transitioning over to the west side. So look for some of those fish showing up into the 40 and 50-pound range really, really soon.
All right, thank you for a great report from the Bells Central East region. We're going to take a look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Central East region. Our buddy Jim says inshore, try Ponds Inlet Jetty for bluefish, redfish, jacks, shark, and snook. Use live or cut mullet on a standard bottom rig. And then offshore, go to the other side of the stream for yellowfin tunas and dolphin, troll-skirted ballyhoos, or high-speed lures near the packs of birds and the floating debris for both of those species.
All right, we're checking out what's swimming around the Panhandle region next, but first we're going to check in at the CCA workbench with Captain Ridge Murphy. Whoa, he's coming up right next on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Rick.
Quattro and Trace, all at the same place.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. SiriusXM Marine, weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet. And Sea Sucker, get pumped.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Welcome back, everyone. We're now going to take a look at the FWC news and notes. May 5th, there's a kids fishing clinic in Pensacola. Also on May 5th is the Key West boating course. And also on May 5th, the Manatee PS boating course in Palmetto, Florida. It's a busy day that day. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now let's head to the CCA workbench for some rigs and techniques.
That's so right. We're here at the Academy Sporting Goods as well as the CCA workbench, rigs and techniques, what we talk about every week here. My son, Captain Ridge Murphy's filling in for Dave. And Ridge, trout is certainly something that you guide for. So what kind of points do you want to make tonight?
Absolutely. You know, when we talk about trout, the first thing I think of is variety and quantity. Variety because they eat just about everything you throw to them. A lot of times, some parts of the state, you target them. Other parts of the state, they're kind of a bycatch. You know, you'll be snooker and red fishing and end up catching some nice trout. Absolutely. And so when we're targeting trout, what we want to talk about is there's two common rigs that we're going to use. And one is a noise-making cork, which when we're popping it, you're going to pop, pop, and pause. And that's with this one. And then you come down, you have a 1/4 ounce jig with a 4-inch sea shad. For the guys that want to use a little bit of scent, Bang makes these products, shrimp-scented products that you can spray on there or use other soft plastics that have a little bit of scent to them. Right. And so, like I said before, you just want to pop, pop, and pause. And what's going to happen a lot of times is the trout's going to come up and eat it on the pause. Right. So the rod, the cork will disappear. You rear down, you set the hook, and he's going to come up shaking his head. And it's very visual. It's great for kids, great for your, taking the family out and everything else. A lot of people's first fish are trout. I think mine was. It's true. And so then other rigs that you got would be the same rod, similar reels, and you just have a regular standard popping cork. And the nice part about this is from a rigging standpoint, all you got to do is tie your jig on and you can add the cork. And so for the guys that don't want to get their bait suspended, they want it on the bottom, you can put a shrimp on this. You can put another soft plastic on there and bounce it along the bottom on these holes that they sit in. Right. And so for other guys that are a little bit more advanced, they want to do some topwater stuff, you got Bass Assassin makes a dye dapper. And that is going to, you're going to reel with the rod tip up. Right. And that little paddle tail is going to sit there and make bubbles and everything else. Chartreuse for me is a good color. It's one of my favorite colors. It's very good. The trout tend to like it a lot. They also make another paddle tail bait. It's called the Little Boss. Little Boss is, the reason why I like this so much, Ridge, is it has these little ribs on the side. Yeah. And that actually gives you an additional vibration. It pushes a little bit more water. Absolutely. Now what about if you want to convert over to soft plastics or top water action? So this is what Bass Assassin calls their salty snack. And it doesn't have a paddle tail. So it sits up on top of the water and walks the dog just like a skitter walk would. And then the skitter walk, why do you think it's so effective? It's got the noise, it's got the rattles inside, it walks a dog. A lot of times you're pausing, and for whatever reason, a lot of saltwater fish don't like the pause, but the trout do. They'll come up, and 9 out of 10 times when you're pausing is when you're gonna get your bite. And so they also Rapala makes a thing called the twitching mullet, and that's another bait with inline hooks that doesn't really have treble hooks on it. And the last thing you wanna do is when you're holding a trout, is get it stuck in your hand, and you don't want to be wearing no plugs. And these are a lot safer for the fish too. Absolutely. Treble hooks at times can really be problematic for the fish. Absolutely. Storm also makes another hard plastic bait, or not a hard plastic, but a topwater. And that has a concave head just like your popping cork would. And so it's called the chug bug. And so when you're chugging it along, you're twitching, pop, pop, and you're pausing. A lot of times it'll go underneath the water, create this big bubble trail and everything else. The trout's gonna come up and eat there too. Rapala makes the same concept, but it's called the X-Wrap Pop. Yeah. It comes in a variety of different colors. Different head, much bigger, but guess what? When you pop this, it actually will go under the surface. So now your bubble trail follows along the side of the hard plastic. Absolutely. What's the big mistake that people make? They see a fish come up and blow up on the surface. What do, Ridge? A lot of times, I don't know if it's because we've been watching Bill dance on TV for so long or what, but we're reaching down and we're rearing back on the rod. And yes, you need to do that, but you got to make sure the fish has it in his mouth before it happens, because then you're pulling it out of the fish's face.
Keep twitching.
And you just got to keep reeling.
That's exactly right. Hey, Brie.
Oh my gosh.
I think he did a good job.
Over here. You guys
Way
are
to
doing
go, Ridge.
so
Good job over here.
So cute. I thought I was going to be a little Murphy'd out, but you guys are really cute. Good job, Ridge. All right, next we have Captain Brandon Wright filling in for Pat Deneen in the Yeti Panhandle region. Welcome back to the show, Brandon. Tell us what's going on up there.
Oh, it's been good. It's been good. The trout bite has been it's been good. It's been better early in the mornings. Probably the best time is the morning and evenings. Right now we're using twitch baits in the morning, Rick, but we're catching them in 2 to 3 foot of 2 to 4 foot of water actually, of scattered grass. But our menhaden are finally showing up, and which is nice because we do a lot of live bait chumming, which really gets the bite. Going.
So, Brandon, I got a question for you about trout. Up there, you guys have some freshwater influence from time to time when it gets rainy. Does that push the trout a little closer to the Gulf, or do they have a tendency to hang inside those bios?
No, when it pushes down through all the river mouths up here, it tends to push them down. Yeah, it's closer to the Gulf. Which can be really good if you're fishing close to the Gulf, or it can make the top part of our bay really slow because it's just too fresh for them. But yeah, it can be really, really good, down here close to the pass whenever all that fresh water comes in.
All right. Well, speaking of the beach, how's your pompano fishing?
Man, the pompano bite has been fantastic. It has been really good. It's been a little bit better out toward Navarre. The Navarre Pier has been absolutely crushing them. Everybody out there is, got buckets full of pompano right now. And even the beaches, to the east or the west of the Navarre Pier have been really, really, really good. Basically just using set rigs with pompano, with sand fleas.
Tell me about this photo, bub.
The photo of the trout?
No, the pompano. I'm sorry.
The pompano? Mm-hmm. That is actually a photo of my 2 little girls on one of my days off. They caught those. They even actually caught them on jigs, tipped with sand fleas.
Oh, that's great. I love seeing you taking the girls fishing. All right, let's venture offshore a little bit.
Well, the king mackerel, they're starting to show up. This is the first week that I've actually started seeing them pretty good. Everybody's been catching them, on the natural bottom, probably around 60 to 100 foot of water. Everybody's been gold hooking cigarmen as they have been super thick around our, the east pass of Destin. And generally speaking right now, everybody's catching them on, on top, fly line in the cigar minnow on a ha-ha rig.
A ha-ha rig. Tell me about a ha-ha rig. What the heck is a ha-ha
rig? If you miss it, if the first hook misses it, the second hook gets them. That's,
Ha-ha.
ha-ha.
I get it.
Basically, we use a little, a light wire, steel wire leader. I use 2 treble hooks. I think I just like to hook up a little bit better. And when the bite gets slow, a lot of times the guys will go from using the steel leader to using a little heavier fluorocarbon leader with the same rig. You break off a few fish, but if you're not getting bites, it's something to go to sometimes.
How's the late run cobia doing? You got any?
You know what? The cobias, they're starting to pick up. There's been, instead of just seeing a couple fish a day, there at least, more boats are starting to catch them. Everybody's still sight fishing them. They're still migrating really hard. So a live eel is probably, the best thing to present them. A lot of guys are diehard jig fishermen and want to throw a jig at them, but you may not see another one that day. So a live eel is pretty hard to beat.
All right. Well,
but I would
go ahead.
I would definitely have a fin bait, any mullet, a pinfish, just in case they've already seen an eel or two to throw right behind them, just in case they don't want that eel.
All right, man. Thank you so much for filling in for Pat while he's away. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Captain Brandon says inshore pompano bite on Navarro Pier has been excellent. And then offshore, cobia bite is picking up. Sight fishing along the beach for the migrating fish. Look for them headed west, Brie.
Haha.
Ha-ha.
I love when we learn new things together. You didn't know what that was either, did you?
Nope.
Nope. All right, let's take a moment to talk about CCA Florida Star because it's not just about catching tagged fish. Star has both offshore and inshore non-tagged fish divisions. And since we're talking about trout this week, it's a good time to mention that Star has a trout division as well. Catch any legal-sized trout during the 101 days of fishing, enter a photo of the fish on the official Star measuring device, and you are entered to win a new boat, Yamaha, and trailer, along with other great prizes. Get registered now at ccafloridastar.com. All right, we're headed to the East Coast next with your Northeast and East region captains, and we're also chatting with a special guest from SiriusXM Marine. So stay hooked, and we will be right back. I tried to roll my R, it didn't work.
Yeah.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, any fish, any water, since 1958. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're going to get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
So welcome back, and I'd like to welcome some special guests, Michael Millett from SiriusXM Marine.
Good to be here.
And Jeff Leach.
Absolutely.
Now guys, you know, I want to explain to our viewers why it's so important to have SiriusXM Marine on your boat. You know, the whys are really important.
Indeed. Well, first of all, thank you, Rick. Appreciate it, and thrilled to be a sponsor. So most people are very familiar with SiriusXM Radio.
Right.
But not as much with SiriusXM Marine. So we offer all kinds of services for mariners, for boaters out there that want to get entertainment, weather, and all kinds of fishing information aboard.
So tell us what we got going on with Sirius, the value points.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the key things about SiriusXM Marine is we provide live graphical weather and forecasts directly on your chart plotter as they relate to your boat. So you can see your boat and the weather around you. We provide complete cover. So it's not based on cell service. It's satellite based, 150 to 200 miles offshore. We also offer SiriusXM Marine radio at a discount. For those of you that are not using your boats on a regular basis, we offer a seasonal suspend program, so you can cut your program off and not have to reactivate, pay the reactivation fee. And we also have sea surface temperatures that help you find fish and save fuel.
Now, Michael, weather and lightning, tell me about it.
It's really our core feature for weather safety is weather radar. You can animate it so you can see the progression and direction of the storms. You also see lightning, storm cells, a lot of information provided there.
Yes, sir. I got it.
And another feature is wind and wave data. So we'll show you exactly where the wind is coming from. We'll show you how fast it's going. We'll show you the wave heights, the periods between waves as well.
And this is really the core feature for the anglers. It's sea surface temperatures. Shows you the breaks between the colder water and the warmer water. where the bait fish congregate and hopefully where the big ones come and get them.
You know, Michael, when I'm looking at this, I see definite coalition to where we have baits and maybe a tide rip because of temperature breaks. The bait's going to gather there. This is going to attract the predators. What a great, great feature that we have with SiriusXM Marine.
We also have marine zone forecasts. So typically, as mariners, we're used to listening to the VHF zone forecast. Kind of hard to do sometimes, and you have to listen to it cycle all the way through, right, Rick?
Mm-hmm.
And so for this, we have a graphical overlay of forecasts where you can literally push your zone and it feeds you up a forecast.
Right.
And we partner with all the key marine electronics brands that you're familiar with, and we have special offers and features that we're going to be giving out to your viewers, and stay tuned for more.
Yeah, we might have some really cool contests. Now, for one last thing, Michael, if somebody has some information, where do they go to find out?
You can find out all about SiriusXM Marine at SiriusXM.com//Marine.
Guys, you did a good job. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules. Good luck going to the Keys and catching maybe some blackfin tunas. All right, Brie, where are we going for next?
You guys have seriously stepped it up over there. If you're in the East region, the trout are spawning and the mullet are here, so that can only mean one thing. Tell them, Captain Holiday.
Yeah, it's the truth. April is prime time for spotted sea trout in the East region. The school fish are gathered up on the edges of the sandbars and around the channel drop-offs. So places like the double bars off Middle Cove and the channel leading into the mooring, those are really good places to start your day. Don't overlook the dock lights in the Loxahatchee River or along the west bank of the Indian River at night. A lot of big fish come off those lights on live shrimp. And then, you know, if it's a big trout you want, you'll find them hunting the shallows where mullet are schooling and around the Spoil Islands to the north and south of Fort Pierce on the outgoing tides. Trout have these appendage in their eyes that lets them see better at low light, so they're more aggressive at dawn and dusk. So you want to get on the water early, start your day throwing a 6-inch saltwater assassin shad in Houdini, copper juice, or drunk monkey colors, or fish a topwater plug in the mullet colors. And then as the sun gets up, the fish will move to deeper water. So you want to go with a live pinfish, a pigfish, a mullet, or a pilchard, and you can either freeline them or put them under a cork on a 4.0 VMC kale hook. The average sea trout in my region is going to be 1 to 3 pounds, but we're going to find fish to 10 pounds in the mix. And as long as we're talking about that, let's look at that photo. That's Christina Rubino. She caught her biggest trout, and after posing with it for a photo, she released it. That fish fell for a live pinfish. The other thing is, with all the rain we've been getting, that's got the spillways running in Jupiter and in Stewart and Port St. Lucie with a big snooker hanging out. Big jigs, swimming plugs, live bluegills, or shiner are going to be deadly baits for those fish. It's also warm enough that the dawn topwater bite's going to be on fire. You can throw like a super-sized topwater plug or a 5-inch saltwater assassin dye dapper in black and gold or black and silver colors, depending on the watercolor. You want to work the seawalls on the high tides and the docks on the low tides. And then there's also a lot of male fish around the inlets and around the beaches near the inlets right now. Those fish will eat a copper juice colored 4-inch bass assassin saltwater shad or a live pilchard or a threadfin. The best bite there is coming on the outgoing tide. That's when the bait's being swept out the inlets. The average snook in my region right now is going to be 24 to 30 inches.
What else you got for me, Holiday?
Well, we still haven't seen the big dodo stuff that we're typically run across in April, but there are some dolphin being caught, mostly in singles, pairs, and triples. Early this week, we were in that long period of westerly winds, and that pushed a lot of the weeds and the fish to the other side of the Gulf Stream. Now, this weekend, we'll shift back to those southeast, northeast winds that bring the fish back over to our side, so we should see an entire new group of fish moving through. Lately, all the fish, the big fish in particular, have come way offshore, 20 miles or more, but, there's a full moon and heavy tides this weekend, so we should see more action in that 100 to 220 feet of water throughout the entire region. The fish are kind of spread out, so you can troll ballheel or strip baits if you want to cover a lot of water, or you can run and gun with live baits looking for diving birds or floating objects. The average dolphin right now is going to be 8 to 15 pounds, but there should be some fish over 30 pounds caught this weekend. Also, this weekend's full moon will really light up the nighttime mutton snapper bite in 80 to 100 feet of water off Palm Beach, and then in 70 feet of water off Hope Sound. and also on the 6 Mile Reef off Stewart. To be successful, you just need to be patient, anchor up. If there's not much current, you can also drift, but most of the guys are anchoring up. You want to get a little chum line going to draw the fish away from the structure and towards your baits. Rig up with 40 to 50-pound fluorocarbon leader, 40 feet of 50-pound fluorocarbon leader, and either a grunt plug, ballyhoo plug, sardine, or cigar minnow. The daytime bite will also produce muttons using those same baits, or you can use like a 150 or 200 Williamson Vortex speed jig and either that green mackerel or the sardine color, and just drift and jig over the reefs. Average mutton snapper right now is going to be 3 to 10 pounds, but there will be fish to 20 pounds caught this week. I promise you that. I got a photo there. The anglers on the Floridian charter boat out of Stewart, they caught that slob mutton snapper. They caught it in 70 feet of water, and that fish fell for a grunt plug.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about bass, Hollywood.
Yeah, man, you know, the heavy rain early in the week kind of fired up that school peacock bass bite in the canals of Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. You can find them along the shorelines and around the bridges at dawn. And this is also the time of year when the peacocks are just starting to pair up to spawn. So the best midday fishing is sight casting for those bigger fish along the shorelines. Some of the better areas are going to be the C100, the C13 canal, also the airport lakes and the turnpike lakes and the Lake Ida. Those are all producing good catches of peacocks this week. For baits, small topwater plugs like a tiny torpedo is going to work great for the school fish on the shoreline to first light. But if you're sight casting the larger fish, small jigs, lipless crankbaits, and that small, I think it's a number 9 Rapala, that little swimming plug is just money on those fish. You can also pitch live shiners to the fish on the shorelines with great success. The average peacock's going to be like 2 to 5 pounds, but I saw Jim Anson on his Facebook page had a 9-pound peacock this week. So there are some bigger fish in the mix. Most guys are catching 15 to 20 peacocks a trip.
All right, Hollywood, thank you so much. We're going to take a look at the Atlas Jack Plate hotspots from the East Region inshore, bluefish, whiting, pompano in the surf at Hobe Sound Beach, topwater plugs, spoons, and cut baits for bluefish, sand fleas, and shrimp for those pompano. And then offshore, the mutton snapper on the Loran Tower Ledge off of Hobe Sound, sardines, cigar minnows, and grunt plugs in 40-foot leaders to catch those big muttons. Bree.
All right, your captain / photographer extraordinaire from the Strike Zone Northeast region, Captain Tommy. What's going on up there, Tommy?
What's up, guys? Hey, Brie, Rick. You know what, guys? We have had a fantastic trout bite throughout the region all winter long, and now it's going on into the spring. And you know what? We're really excited to start to see some of those big gator trout that start to show up this time of year. I spoke to numerous captains throughout the region, and they all had really great trout reports for me. Captain Ron Schur from FishingNorthFlorida.com told me he's catching good numbers of trout in the Jacksonville area, in the St. John's, from the Dames Point Bridge to the downtown area on the last 2 hours of incoming tide. Now, he's targeting rocks, docks, and riprap that are adjacent to some deeper drop-offs or a point. And he's tossing a Rapala skitter walk early in the morning, and then he says that the Rapala countdown has been deadly when that sun gets a little higher up in the sky. I also spoke to Captain John Eggers from RockandReelCharters.com, and he's fishing the same areas, but he's using a soft plastic paddle tail on a 3/8 to ½ ounce jig. Now, John likes that rig so he can cover that entire water column. Now, I also spoke with Captain Tony Bizzella from TonyBizzella.com, and he's been catching some big trout on the edges of the ICW up near Sisters Creek and in the St. John's, but he's using a float rig with a live shrimp, among other things. Now, the same holds true in St. Augustine. You know, I've been finding our trout along the ICW, along the shell bars, and especially where the bait has been ganged up. Now, you can see there's a bunch of different ways to catch trout in our region. You know what? That's one reason they're so popular. Now, this is definitely one of my favorite times of year to fish for those huge gator trout. Those big fish are spawning, so take good care of them. Make sure they get a good, healthy release. And speaking of gator trout, you know, I've got a picture here. This is my man, Don Carmichael, with a monster of a gator trout he caught on a Rapala swimming mullet. Now, staying inshore, you know, the redfish are moving into a good spring pattern right now. They're absolutely crushing topwater plugs throughout the region. We've been catching slot-sized fish early in the morning on the high tide this week using the Rapala skitter walk and the Skitter V plugs. Now the finger mullet, they're getting thicker and thicker by the day. If you can find a good grass line with some bait, you're going to find some hungry redfish this weekend. Mill Cove in Jacksonville and the flats surrounding Pine Island and St. Augustine, those are great places to toss a top water plug along the grass lines that first light have over the next couple of days. And I got a picture of a top water caught fish. This is Jordan Caruso with a nice slot redfish he caught with me on that Rapala Skitter V top water plug. Now, moving offshore, you know, the mahi bite, it's really started to pick up this week. After that easterly blow we had last week, the fish are starting to show up in better numbers. You're going to want to look for the typical current edges, color changes, and weed lines. You know, most of the guys are pulling small to medium ballyhoo, either naked, skirted, or with a chugger head. Now, Captain Jason Hadges from jhookfishingcharters.com, he says he likes the naked ballyhoo the best, and that it's a key thing. You absolutely have to make sure that that ballyhoo is swimming correctly. Now, that may mean speeding up or slowing down depending on the conditions. Now, most of those mahi are running about 10 to 20 pounds, and there's some really big fish starting to show up. Now, also offshore, the tuna fish bite continues to be good this week offshore of St. Augustine. They're still hanging out around the bigger rock piles just inside the ledge. Cedar plugs and rig ballyhoo troll way back have been the ticket. Just keep an eye out for birds and busting fish, and there's also been some flying fish around as well. There hasn't been quite as many tuna around, but there's still some really big ones, especially for blackfins. And speaking of big blackfin tuna, I got one last picture. This is Fred Sealing along with first mate Clay from the J-Hook with a nice blackfin tuna they caught east of St. Augustine. Fred is even rocking that Florida Insider Fishing Report t-shirt.
Nice. All right, thank you so much, Fred. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Northeast region hotspots. Tommy says that inshore, topwater for trout and redfish on the early morning high tide in Mill Cove around Pine Island and into Tomoka Basin. And then offshore, a mahi on the ledge out of St. Augustine. The bigger fish are starting to show up, Bree.
He never disappoints with those photos.
No, he doesn't.
So darn good. All right, we're moving right along here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report with your captain from the Northwest region. And then we're checking out what new products Sarah has for us at the CCA workbench right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore four-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 four-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Yeah? Stop working right now! Look outside. Is this spreadsheet weather? No, it's not. This is fishing weather. So stop clicking, get out there, and catch a bass. Stop what you're doing and start fishing Rapala Ripstop.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Stop by today and see our great selection for yourself. Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and Sarah, we have some congratulations is in order.
Thank you.
You and your team, the Freebird team, have just won the series, the Quest for the Crest.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, man. So why don't you tell us about it? So here's the team.
Well, I'm so proud of my team, Freebird and Remix. Captain Nick Carullo kept us on the fish all season throughout the entire series, and we just killed it.
Now, more importantly, Sarah, on an individual basis, you were also the master angler of that series. So that's the most fish caught in the 4 tournament series. And
I was.
Congratulations.
Out of over 500 anglers, I was number one.
Congratulations. Never been done before by a young lady.
The first female.
It's awesome. All right, now, we got some work to do over here, so why don't we immediately jump right in? Tell me about this Yeti bag.
We have some exciting new products. First is the Yeti Camino carry-all bag. And this bag is great. It's perfect for any outdoorsman. It's durable, waterproof, easy to clean. I like to take it to the beach. I can throw my towel in there, throw my Yeti tumbler if I want to make a cocktail.
Yeah.
It's also perfect for the boat. It has these sturdy straps. So I can throw heavy things in here, like my boots or my foul weather gear, and just throw it over my shoulder.
Even a big spool of line, if you got to re-spool with those big giant 5-pound spools, it's going to be perfect.
So this is actually perfect for that.
Now, it seemed like it's made a little bit out of the panga. Same material?
It's the same material as the panga, which was the waterproof, durable, and easy to clean material. So.
Now, what colors does it come in, Sarah?
It comes in 3 different colors. It's the sky blue, the storm gray, and the Everglades sand.
Which is a tan. Which is a tan color. All right, pretty
work
work
over here.
What do you have
over here?
All right, so what we got here is the Power Pole. Now, understand the Power Pole has come out with 3 new spikes. We have the ultralight spike. The ultralight spike comes in a 6.5 footer as well as the 8.5 footer. The difference between the ultralight and the heavy duty is that the ultralight are hollow inside, so it's perfect for your little boats, for canoes, for kayaks, for a variety of different, paddle boards, exactly, 1,500 pounds or less. Now, if you've got a big bay boat like I do, or a big skiff, or even a contender, and you go to the sandbar, the heavy duty spike is perfect because it's solid. So it will handle the bigger. Now both spikes, obviously, or all 3 spikes come with a 6-foot rope with a loop on the end. So you can simply eliminate all of those anchor ropes and you don't have to worry about somebody running over your stuff. So tell me about this Calusa cast net,
Okay, so
Sarah.
the Calusa cast net, this is one of my favorite products. I actually keep 2 on the boat, a 10 and a 12 foot. So whenever we go bait fishing, I'm ready to go. The great thing about this, it's made out of copolymer mono, so it's really soft and easy to throw. And also they reinforced the mono at the top and bottom 2 inches. You can see here in the blue.
Now, why do you like the copolymer mono?
Well, because it's softer and it lies flatter. It's easier to throw.
1.5 pounds per.
Yeah, the great thing about this, it's the perfect weight. It's 1.5 pounds per foot, so it's not too light that it takes forever to sink down to the baits, but it's not too heavy that you're exhausted after the first or second toss. And we all know that cast nets can get very heavy. Even when you have guns like these, I don't know if you can relate, Rick, but it gets exhausting.
It does get exhausting. Now, one last product that we have is the Sea Sucker. Now, the Sea Suckers are famous there where you can pick any particular place on your boat. Simply pump that particular piece, and now once the orange stripe is gone, it's stuck. Now, this particular product is made for your phone. Let me borrow your phone there. So we're gonna actually stick our phone in here. And now we have the ability to hold onto our phone. We can adjust it in any which way we want. And the great part about this is now we can play our music, we can use maps, we can take a selfie, we can actually create video while we're running around so our social media gets a little love. Good job by Sea Sucker. You can go to seasucker.com and find out about this as well as Power Pole. Hey, good job.
Thank you.
I appreciate it very much. All right, Bree.
The ladies are taking over, Rick.
Places
I'm telling
to go.
you.
Girls are taking over.
Congrats again, Sarah. That's awesome. If you're feeling the trout blues, Captain Jeff Hagman from the Flagler Construction Northwest region has got just what the doctor prescribed. So let's hear it, Hag.
Well, trout, our region was made for trout fishing. We've got miles and miles of turtle glass shoreline from one end of my region all the way to the other. So my area was definitely made for trout fishing. Like I said, we've got that perfect habitat that trout love to be in. Any combination of turtle grass, eel grass, or a combination where you go into rocks, any of those places, trout are very ambush predators, so they like to sit and wait in those broken bottoms that I constantly talk about, those sand holes, or a change in the grass, or a little rock pile in it. So they're an ambush predator, so you want to fish those areas hard. And as far as baits go, they can cut on fly, they can cut on plugs, soft plastics, live feed, shrimp, sardines, small pinfish, small grass grunts, underfloats, free line, they all work. In our region, trout can be found in anywhere from 1 to 12 feet of water. So in the summertime, when it gets hot, those fish are going to move out off the flat and get into that sand area off the beach and fall into those troughs. So right now, they're still up shallow. You can fish them in 1 to 2 foot of water, and they're eating really good big baits right now. We got some good fish moving in our region right now, up to 24 inches. But in the wintertime, in the summertime, which we're getting more and more warm as we get through this little last front we've got here, as that water temperature warms up, you're going to start fishing deep. And when you start fishing deep, start fishing a little slower, and you'll find those fish out a little bit deeper. And I got a photo here of a nice West Coast trout.
Nice photo there, Hag. I like it. All right, let's talk about some redfish.
I'm going to kind of wing through everything we got here. I'm going to start up north and work our way south. Captain John Lane and Captain JB Charters out of Apalachicola Bay reports the redfish bite are starting to get on the flats right now in those marsh edges. He's using fresh shrimp on a half-ounce lead with a 2-aught circle hook, fluorocarbon leader, and he said they're mainly biting in that last 30 minutes of the incoming tide. Moving a little bit further south at Keaton Beach, out of Keaton Beach, Captain Pat McGriff reports a good trout bite right now in 3 to 5 foot of water. He's using small pinfish under a back bay. Excuse me. He's also using assassin she shads in that pink moon, the stinky pinky, and sweet pea are his favorite colors in those right now. Moving a little bit further south, Captain Jimbo Keith of Saltwater Assassin Fishing Charters out of Cedar Key reports the inshore bite's been pretty good right now. Trout along the flats in that 3 to 5 foot of water. And the last 2 hours of the incoming tide seems to be that golden time. He says redfish bite right now has also been pretty good. He's been catching most of them on the incoming and outgoing tide. Cut mullet and live mud minnows fished around the oyster bars seems to be working best. And I've got a couple nice photos, courtesy of Captain Jimbo and Captain John.
Nice.
All right, looking good.
Nice redfish.
Yes, sir. All right, what else do we have offshore now, bub?
Moving a little bit further offshore and a little further south, Captain Mario Costello out of Plantation Inn on Crystal River reports a good triple tail bite right now. He's finding most of them around crab trap booties and floating grass patches, any type of floating debris. And there's fish that are out there camouflaging themselves in search for bait fish and crabs under the shelter of those floating objects. He's throwing a free line shrimp on a 2-aught circle hook in calm water conditions. If it's a little bit rougher, he can get away with putting a cork on there, and the fish have been averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 inches. And I've got a photo there turned in by Mario of Justin Hover. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his last name correct.
That's all right. So tell me what you got also offshore. What additional species?
I tell you what, the blackfin tuna last week went off and they came in shallow. Captain Harry Connor was out there. I wasn't out there, but I heard about the bite. Everybody was out there kingfishing, and the blackfins actually came into 50 feet of water just outside the shipping buoy. So they came in real close. The bait's out there really good, but right now you can find them anywhere from 50 to 125 feet of water over wrecks, reefs, rock piles. And once you see them start to sky, start pouring that chum out of the back of the boat. You can keep them fired up right behind the back of the boat and have a lot of fun. Just free line a little thread fin or a sardine right out the back of the boat. They've been averaging anywhere from 18 to 20 pounds.
All right, thank you so much, Hag. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Northwest hotspots. Inshore, snook bite has been heating up. Look for the fish around the good current flow, and ambush points use live pilchards for bait. And then offshore, gag grouper over the ledges and rock piles in 50 to 75 feet of water.
All right, Floridians, the Southwest region and the Keys are in your future, as well as some hookups. So don't swim off. We've got more reports coming your way. And don't forget, if you want to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, all you have to do is visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and view and tag us on Instagram. How about them for Bossy Boots, huh?
I like it.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Volvo equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Volvo, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Volvo sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Push boundaries with Volvo. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations, or visit us on the web at www.flaglerce.com.
So we're here at Harbor Trucks, and Chris, you know, the Titan's got a lot of engine options. Why don't we go through the list? Tell me about it.
Well, we offer our V8 gas, which has shown some enhancements for this new model year, but it's typically the same thing. And then we have the all-new 5-liter V8 Cummins diesel.
All right, so the Cummins diesel comes in a variety of different truck sizes. Tell me about the Titan sizes.
Well, we offer our regular half-ton Titan, and then we have the Titan XD gas and the Titan XD diesel.
All right, so what does that mean, XD?
It is what we would call half-ton plus.
Okay.
Tow ratings are a little bit higher than what you'd see out of a half-ton truck. Frame's a little more rigid. It's a little bit of a larger truck as well.
So how many horsepower do we have typically out of a stock Cummins?
It is 310 horsepower and 555 foot-pounds.
Now, if we want to enhance that, what do you guys offer here at Harbor Trucks?
We offer tuning services that will bring the horsepower levels up to 501.
501 horsepower?
Yes, sir.
That's significant. What about, how much does that increase our torque?
Just over 900.
That's some serious towing capacity. Now, you've got customers that have been using the Cummins Titan, so why don't you tell me about some of their experiences?
Well, the first one that comes to mind, I actually have a customer that tows his, I believe, I don't want to speak out, a 15-horse trailer.
Wow, so what do you have any idea what that weighs?
I believe he had to install airbags to the vehicle, so
Right.
I'm sure it is above our 12.5 towing capacity, but he has had 0 problems out of the vehicle so far.
Wow, that's really awesome. So guys, if you have any questions for Chris, you can go to Harbor Trucks Facebook page or go to harbortrucks.com.
Rick, you're just buzzing over here. What do you want to say?
Brie, you saw that white truck towing the Pathfinder?
Yes.
Well, it had a little bit of a facelift. 6-inch lift, 35s. We put a tuner in it and did some modifications to the exhaust. 501 horsepower. It will, well,
You're set
we can
up.
pull babies
I get
with
it.
that baby.
Okay, I knew that was coming.
The baby
All right,
wagon.
The baby wagon. Great, sounds good. If there's trout to be found, the Bell's Southwest region has got them, and Captain Ron Houston is going to tell you how to catch them.
That's right,
Ronnie. You know, it's a pleasure being here from the Bell Southwest region, but I got to tell you, Brie, you missed out last week up at Harbor Trucks. I got to see some really good friends being up in the north end of the region I haven't seen in a while. But furthermore, whenever I get up to Punta Gorda, those people up there are really special. So I got to say, Rick, thanks for inviting me up there. I had a special time.
All right.
But as we get into our theme species, the trout, you know, they can be caught both offshore and inshore. But, you know, the prime target is the inshore side. Now, you want to concentrate on grass flats, potholes, edges, troughs, points, and oyster bars. But truly, to find the trout, the grass is going to be the key. Now, high water, the flats, but when the tide falls, you've got no grass. You've got to get on the outer edges, the troughs, and the potholes. Now, to locate them, the easiest way would be noise-making lures, top waters, or noise-making corks like the Bass Assassin Oval Quick Cork. You can use them with live shrimp or soft plastic paddle tails, artificial shrimp, but bucktails tipped with shrimp will find them fan casting. Once you get in a group of fish, the first thing you want to do is power pull down, fan cast the area till the bite slows down, then move on. You can also use soft plastics on a jig head, live pilchers, or if you're really looking for a big trout, nothing beats a pinfish under a cork. You might be surprised. It might take a while. Average size throughout the region is 15 to 25 inches. They can be caught all year round, but truly, wintertime is the best, and I got a couple picks from a good guy I hadn't seen in a while up in the northern end of the region. Some nice trout caught with Captain Danny Latham.
Whoa.
Now, still on the inshore side, we're going to talk about the snook. It's been a nighttime bite in the Caloosahatchee River, Cape Coral, Fort Myers Beach, but it's the late night outgoing until dawn along the bridge spans, intercoastal docks, and seawalls. Now, the Bass Assassin shrimp and clear, Papa Smurf or root beer in the open areas with current. I strongly suggest using a 3/0 circle hook. Put it about a half-inch into the head, and make sure you steadily retrieve with the current, whether it's a point or the outside of a dock. Now, if you're skipping, you want to hook it Texas style to avoid, to avoid the hang-ups. 30-pound leaders recommended, but I'll tell you what, circle hooks is going to be the best way to go because they're generally hooked in the mouth, less frayed with a light leader, or you can use a live shrimp. I got another picture of a nice snook caught down the center end of the region. Now, on the offshore side, the permit. The bite's been getting better from Stump Pass to Wiggins Pass, fishing wrecks 5 to 20 miles out by either anchoring up or slowly drifting across the structure up to a quarter mile away from the structure in a 360-degree pattern away from the structure. Now, some reports of large schools on top, or what you want to do is free line a crab or use a lightweight while drifting. That way you can figure out where these fish are on the water column. Reports I've gotten, fish right now are up to 30 pounds, and the best choice of bait right now, if you can get them, is a live crab. Now, we also got the Spanish mackerels. Bites still seem to be consistent from Marco Island to Fort Myers Beach, from the beach line out to about 10 miles. On wrecks, large bait schools, and head pins, trolling spoons to locate or look for birds. Once located, gotcha lures, silver spoons, white bucktails, and live pilchards. While working these schools, guys, there's been some reports of some kings from 12 to 20 pounds, so a live thread fin in the Spanish mackerel schools or a blue runner. In the last couple of days, we got some red tide a little further to the south, so you want to get further off the beach line up to about 10 miles out, but the north end, the pattern still remains in.
All right, thank you so much, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Calusa Cast Nets hotspot for the Southwest region. Inshore, tarpon on the beaches from Wiggins Pass to Redfish Pass. Fish the bridge spans using thread fins, pinfish, and 4 to 6 inch swim baits. And then offshore, red grouper Stump Pass to Wiggins Pass in 65 to 80 feet of water, fishing hard bottom using cut bait. Brie.
There's some big fish coming out of his region, man.
Big Fish Ronnie.
Pretty nice. Big Fish Ronnie. There we go. All right, we want to mention the 3rd annual CCA Homestead Banquet and Auction on Thursday, May 17th at Schnebley's Winery in Homestead at 6 p.m. Rick and I have been every year, and it's a fun time while supporting a great cause. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Get your tickets now at ccaflorida.org. All right, let's move a little more south to the Keys and see what your Captain Randy Tao has to say about his resident fish this weekend. Hey, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, the trout bite actually has been pretty good in our neck of the woods for the last month or so. You know, it was a little lean, and there weren't many big ones, especially big ones. Our trout range from about 12 to 14 inches usually, but lately there's been some fish in the 2 to 4 pound range, and a lot of guys are catching them with live bait. Pilchards are your best bet. Small pinfish work really well. And believe it or not, you hear most people talking about the popping cork. That is a great, great tool to use when you're trying to catch trout. For some reason, they really like that noise of the cork, and having that bait under it makes all the difference in the world. Now, some of the best fishing's been along some of the beaches along the West Coast, and there are little pockets where when you find them, if you're poling or drifting down the beach and you get into them, anchor your boat, power pole down, and just start casting, and you can really catch some nice trout right now. Certainly on these nice days that we've been having, those shorelines are nice and calm. Captain Brian Go-Williams with Serenity Charters, he's back there a lot, and he's been getting on them pretty good, telling me that the better days have been when it's calm and that shoreline is not as choppy and rough. And he sent me a picture of his lady angler, Michelle, with one of her nice trout she caught fishing with Brian.
That's a nice fish. All right, Randy, what else you got for us inshore?
You know, it's tarpon time. The tarpon have showed up. I'll tell you what, they are around all the bridges up and down the Keys. You know, the upper Keys, we've got Indian Key and Lignum Vitae, Channel 2, Channel 5, and on down. The fish are starting to show up at Bahia Honda pretty good. Also, Long Key has kind of been the hot spot, talking to most of the guys. Live mullet has been working really well, and some of the guys are also fishing the dead mullet on the bottom, which can be effective as well. But most guys are fishing in the morning tide. It doesn't matter, incoming, outgoing. That morning period from about sunrise to 11 o'clock has been good. And then that late afternoon in that 5 to dark range seems like the guys are getting most of their bites during the day. It's been a little lean, but some nice fish being caught. And for the fly fishing guys, if you're wanting to catch a tarpon on fly, they're coming down the ocean side. They're migrating south. And there's plenty of shots for the fly anglers along the ocean side all the way down to Key West. So if you are thinking about tarpon, it's certainly time right now. I've got a photo of Dr. Rashi with a big tarpon he caught with me.
Man, good job, Randy. You're my guide. You know that. I love it. All right, let's go offshore. I know that we've caught a lot of fish out there.
You know, the black grouper still out of season, but guys are catching them, and they are a lot of fun to catch. They bite real hard. They're great to eat as well, but we can't do that till May 1st, which is just right around the corner. And I think some of the guys are just making sure that there's a few on their secret spots when the time comes. I like fishing a live grunt on a heavy bottom rod, like a 7-foot conventional with 50-pound braid. That's my favorite rig for doing it. And I like to drift around. I drift around on the hard bottoms with my grunts, and you can do pretty well on both reds and blacks, but primarily the blacks seem to be around structure or some of these deeper wrecks in 120 to 200 feet. And they are certainly plentiful right now. Most guys are just catching them to catch them and let them go. But I've got a photo of Heather Pravoy and her husband Brett fishing with me on a recent bottom fishing trip, and we caught a nice big black. We had to let go.
All right, let's go yellowtail fishing, baby.
Yellowtails, you know, Rick, I love yellowtailing, and one of my favorite things to do. The biggest success story I can tell you in yellowtailing is be patient and recognize your conditions. You want to have a little bit of off-color water and some current. That's key right there. And then the next step really is up to them. Let these yellowtails start coming to you as you start to chum, and you want to be in that 65 to about 80 feet of water. And once they get up behind your boat and you start seeing the fish, start off with one rod and kind of work them slow, and that way you don't push the fish down and you'll catch your limit. I've got a photo of Captain James Simsick with Spear Crazy Charters at a marathon fishing with his young son Isaac with his yellowtail he caught.
So cute.
Bree, look at that. That's going to be us pretty soon with a little
Mia.
Little Mia.
Okay.
All right, Randy, we're going to go ahead and take a look at your hotspots. Great report. Thank you so much. The hotspots for the Florida Keys region: inshore tarpon fish the bridges early in the morning and late in the afternoon with the mullet, live or dead, is working the best right now. And then offshore, yellowtails anchor in 60 to 85 feet of water. The current behind the boat and the off-colored water is the condition to look for. Small cut ballyhoo is the bait of choice, Brie.
I hope his parents framed that photo. That was just too cute for me. Can't handle it.
Can you not?
I have baby fever. Can you
Yes,
tell?
Oh, just a little bit.
All right, there's always tournaments going on in the Keys, so let's take a look at what's coming up. The Nick Sheehan Dolphin Rodeo, scheduled for May 4th through the 6th in Isla Mirada, honors the memory of the late Florida Keys student with an angling contest that benefits a college scholarship fund. The 12th annual Mother's Day Dolphin Tournament, set for May 11th and 12th in Marathon, benefits Habitat for Humanity of the Middle Keys. Planned prizes include retail merchandise and cash. The 4th annual Skippers Dolphin Tournament is set for June 1st through the 3rd. First place team is to be awarded $20,000 in cash, with additional prize monies given for 2nd through 6th place. The silver anniversary of the original Big Pine and Lower Keys Dolphin Tournament is set for June 1st through the 3rd. Presented by the Lower Keys Chamber of Commerce, there's more than $35,000 in cash, prizes, and awards. There's so much going on in the Keys, and Andy Newman is going to tell us what featured tournament he's got for us. Go for it, Andy.
Well, hi guys. A guaranteed grand prize of $10,000 in cash is to go to the team catching the largest bull and cow dolphin fish combined at the Tom Thumb Marathon Bull and Cow Dolphin Tournament. Tournament activities are to span May 3rd through the 6th in the Middle Keys. Now, prizes are also to be awarded in other categories as well, including largest dolphin, wahoo, blackfin tuna, and triple tail. Marathon's Ferro Blanco Resort and Yacht Club is the tournament's headquarters. More details at marathonoffshoretournament.com. And for more information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys, always remember flakeys.com.
Thank you very much, Andy. And speaking of the Keys, who wouldn't want to get away to a 3-night stay at Ocean Point Suites Resort in Key Largo and a fishing charter with our very own Captain Randy Tao? I know I would. Just head to our website, FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com, before April 29th to enter to win, and good luck.
Speaking of Ocean Point,
Yes.
next week, Brie, we're going to be there next Wednesday the 2nd, and we're going to be doing the show live from there from 6 o'clock at Ocean Point in Key Largo. So guys, come on out and be part of the live audience. We have lots of free giveaways.
Lots of fun too. The Southeast region is coming up here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report and is ready to go, so don't move a muscle, and we will be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Suffix, always use the best line. The IGFA, fish for the future. Flagler Construction Equipment, your exclusive Volvo dealer. And Okuma, inspired fishing.
When you're moving a big offshore boat, it's all about thrust and trust. For thrust, nothing compares to the Yamaha purpose-built 5.3-liter V8 Power Pioneer. And for trust, Yamaha's new F350C model becomes the only outboard in its horsepower class to feature a 5-year limited warranty. Never settle for less than complete confidence and control in the open water. That's Yamaha V8 Power. Get the best and forget the rest.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com. or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Today's Power Pole Tip of the Week is about using my duals and having a great wide footprint. Now let me explain a little further. Now by using the Power Pole mounting brackets and the 10-foot blades, once we've installed those to our jack plate, it gives us an angle when the blades are deployed that actually takes the spike and put it on the outside perimeter of the side of the boat. Now what this does is it gives me a great stable footprint. The bow doesn't swing to the left or to the right. And the reason why that's so very important for me is that I can, one, come to a complete stop in a very short period of time, but I also am not going to move the angle or the presentation of the cast that I might want to make to the shoreline or to an oyster bar, or even more importantly, a big school of redfish. So keep that in mind, that wider is better when you're thinking about your shallow water anchor, and that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week. You know, Brie, more and more presentation is becoming a key factor in getting the bite. If you don't have the right angle on a school of redfish or maybe a snook under the dock, sometimes it's a difference of getting the bite or not. Now that I've got the duals, my boat has more control. I can set up exactly what I want to do and flip it in there and make it happen.
They're picky, but man, the fish don't stand a chance these days.
Nope.
I'm telling you. All right, if you're in the Casa Vieja Southeast region and feeling a little trouty this weekend, then listen up to Captain Jimbo Thomas for some words of wisdom. Go for it, Jimbo.
Yes, great wisdom here, last but not least. But yeah, sea trout fishing here in the Southeast region is decent at the north and south ends of the region. Now, traditionally, the best trout fishing in the region can be found on the grass flats on the west side of South Biscayne Bay in the Gables by the Sea area, and then on both the east and west sides of North Biscayne Bay from Venetian Causeway north to Holliver Inlet. And then in the north end of the region, look for those sea trout on the east side of Lake Worth Lagoon and the Intercoastal Waterway from Southern Boulevard Bridge south to Hypoluxo Island. Now you want to look for areas with good moving water with heavy grass and potholes in the 3 to 8 foot of water depth. And then also for any signs of bait fish activity, such as mudding, mullet, or schools of pilchers. Look for birds. They'll point out those bait fish for you. Those trout will be following those bait. Now, both live and artificial baits, they do work really well on sea trout. Small live pilchers, herring, or pinfish, you want to fish them under a popping or a Cajun Thunder float, or quarter-ounce bass assassin jig heads with 4-inch gulp shrimps in any color, and then Rapala shad wrap, skitter, and subwalks with green or black backs or red and white. Those are all great trout killers. Now, the one problem up in North Biscayne Bay, those lush grass beds that we've had forever, they seem to be disappearing, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it was from the hurricane, pollution, or what, so the trout are getting harder to find up there. But when you do find them, the average size fish are in the 15 to 18-inch range, but fish up to 25 inches, which is roughly a 4 to 5 pounder, is not uncommon. Now, there's also lots of big tarpon caught in the Southeast region. Most of the fish are being caught in the early mornings and evenings around the bridge shadow lines and then in around the inlets. Now, around the bridges, try to find where the bait's coming through on the outgoing tide. Get anchored up current and drift your live crabs or shrimp or cast surface lures back into the shadow lines. And if there's a current rip, a weed line, or color change, that's where the bait is going to be coming through, and that's also where those tarpon are going to be. Then around the inlets, look for the tarpon around the inlet mouths, and then off the beaches on both the north and south sides of the jetties. Look for rolling fish or marks on your fish finder, and then drift live crabs or shrimp on 60 to 80 pound fluorocarbon leader. You want to use a 6.0 to 8.0 circle hook, and you drift through those areas where you see those fish. Now, in the inlet, the tide doesn't really matter as long as it's moving, and most of these fish have been in the 50 to 100 pound range. Now, moving offshore, our best fishing has been along the edge of the Gulf Stream where the blackfin tunas have been showing up in depths anywhere from 120 to 250 feet of water, and those tunas should keep getting better and better as we get even through May into early June. Now, the best bait's been live pilchers and herrings. You want to fish them under the kite when you have enough wind or on flat lines and you want to scale down your tackle a little because those tunas are a little shy, use 30 to 40 pound fluorocarbon leader and 4.0 to 6.0 circle or J hooks. I prefer the circle hooks. Now there's been a fair amount of green water along the edge, but that really hasn't seemed to affect the bite. But if you can find some blue water, the bite should be even better. Now, most of the blackfins have been in the 10 to 25 pound range, but I have heard of fish up to about 30 pounds in the last week. And the tunas have been biting throughout the day, but first thing in the morning, and then if you can fish late in the afternoon from like 4 o'clock till sunset, that's when you're really going to get them. Now, there's also been some blackfin tunas caught on the troll using small feathers and small lures in 150 to 400 feet of water, but the larger fish are being caught on the live baits. And like always, if you can get enough pilchers to chum with, that'll definitely help get those fish up. Now, sailfish have also been coming through in decent numbers. The best fishing has been in 100 to 250 feet of water using live herrings or goggle eyes. You want to fish them under the kites when you have enough wind, and if you don't have enough wind, drift or slow troll those live baits. And also keep an eye out for free jumping sails because it's been nice and calm the last few days, so you see any commotion on the surface. And if you can get lined up with those free jumping sails, get baits in front of them, there's a good chance of getting a bite or even a multiple hookup.
So, Jimbo, I do have a question for you, fine sir. My
Okay.
question is, you know, free jumpers at times for people, they don't have an understanding of exactly how to line up. Can you give me an idea of how you guys do it on the Thomas Flyer, please?
Okay, well, those sails are typically heading to the south, coming from the north heading south, so you want to get on the south side of where you see the fish. Try and guess what depth they're in, and then hold that depth and just wait because they're usually moving pretty fast. It doesn't take long if you're close to them. Now, sometimes we see them a quarter mile away, and it takes 10 or 15 minutes for them to catch up to us. More often than not, it results in a bite if you can get lined up in the right depth.
All right, thank you for clearing that up for me. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Casa Vieja southeast region. Inshore, catch tarpon in the inlets and along the bridge shadow lines, fishing with live crabs and shrimp. And then offshore, kite fish and drift live baits in 100 to 300 feet of water for sailfish, dolphin, blackfin, tunas, and kingfish. They got it going on offshore in the southeast region.
Yes, they do. They always do.
Yes,
All right,
they
we
do.
have another exciting event coming up. The CCA Broward Banquet, sponsored by StarTron, is on May 3rd at 6 p.m. in Oakland Park. As always, it's going to be a fun event, so make sure you grab those tickets before they go at
You know, Brie,
CCA.org.
I'm going to be there. George Poveromo's going to be there.
she's gonna be
Guys,
there.
come on. Let's have dinner together. Have a drinky.
Dinner and a drinky. I like
Drinky.
it. Okay, anglers, the lines
Come see
are
me.
all in and we are moving on, but we want you to stay right where you are so we can tell you what we're up to next week, only on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We'll be back in a sec.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster, now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
Make sure to tune in next week because we are talking tarpon. Rick, you're a tarpon master.
Oh boy, you know the tarpon are just now showing up in the Keys.
Keys.
And people are starting to get the tarpon fever.
Yes, they are. Well, talk to us about the Keys
Next week we're going to be in the Keys doing a live remote Ocean Point in Tavernier.
Yep.
So come out and see us. We'll start at 6 o'clock so that we make sure that we have plenty of time before it gets dark down there.
And yes, and you can go to our website, you can go to our Facebook page, find out more information about it. It's always a fun time to be an audience member down there.
And register for the contest. Sarah's going to be down there with Randy and I.
Yeah.
As well as, I'm sure Ridge will be around somewhere.
Ridge will be around. Ridge is always around.
Hey,
all right, guys.
Great job, guys.
Yeah, you did
appreciate
so good.
It. What do you think, Brie?
So proud of you.
I think we'll keep them. You know?
Yeah, we'll keep them.
Pretty good job.
Pretty
there,
good.
Sarah.
Are you proud? You must be a proud papa.
I am proud. You know, I actually feel like I can breathe right now.
You can.
I was a little worried before the show got started.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
The band's back together next week.